Hello my crafty friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a second idea for flat mail or snail mail, pen pal mail, whatever you want to call it. My last one that I shared with all of you, you really enjoyed it, and so thank you so much for that. I really appreciate the wonderful comments, and if you haven't seen that video, this is the one that we made in the last video. So this one, I absolutely love it. Again, it's using things that you may already have, but also there's different ways that you could alter these as always for yourself. So let me get started with this one. So to start off, let me just say my husband was using my my desk, and he actually put his laptop right on top of this and didn't even realize it, left it there all night. I came back in the morning and I was looking for my creation and couldn't find it, and realized, oh, it was underneath his laptop. However, though, that really, I mean, even though it's kind of, a little bit bent, you can still see that it holds its shape, which I was very impressed with. So let me start with that. So to get started, I'm going to show you what I've done, and then I'll show you how I put it together in the video as well. So the front here, I was so happy to use these two die cut pieces. I don't have these die cuts myself, or die machine, whatever they're called. I don't have these, but I did get these in a snail mail a while back. So I'm so happy to be using it here. This is a Folio style project. Of course, you can tweak it to your liking. On the front, I have a gorgeous tag. This is from Artie Mace's kit, one of her Christmas kits. I don't remember the name. And then, of course, this is one of those window pockets that I've shown you how to make with repurposed business envelopes. So that goes in there nicely. So I could have gone ahead and made sure that the image that was popping through was the perfect little image, but I just kind of wanted to see the color through the background. You can also see that I have lined the back so you can see the design as well, and I just love how this looks. So of course, you can do whatever you want with your cover, but I thought this looked really nice. You could have something in here, like if you are sending this, let's say, to grandparents, or you're sending this to your kids, you can do a little journaling in the back about the year, and then that kind of will be your front pocket. So when we flip it open, what I've done here, oh, and let me just say, this was not my original idea. I will link the channel below to the lady that I saw make something similar, but that's what inspired this project. I did the little kind of pop out corners here, or the corners for photographs, because I thought if you are sending this to a family member, or like your best friend or something for the holidays, it would be so cute to include photos of maybe the year of what's happened, even though not much has happened this year. But this is kind of like a really quick way to do that, right? To just add those pieces in there. So then what makes this so fun is that it is like a folio again. So you flip it open, but I have to show you what comes with this as well. So let me just move this over a little bit. So on this side, I was thinking, because I did make like a little pocket there, I was thinking this would be so great for holiday recipes, something that you're thinking of making this year, or a family recipe that you want to share with family and friends, etc. So that's why I thought this would also be such a good idea for maybe a little recipe holder. I do have some tags here. So I've used kits from Artie Mace, from On a Whimsical Adventure, and some Tracy Fox. And if I don't remember to mention something, I will also link it below. So I thought I'd make a little pocket there. Again, you could tweak this as much as you want, and that's what I love about this project. The other side is very similar. So you've got your pocket in the center there. And again, some more gorgeous tags, or, whatever you want to add to that. Another little holiday theme tag. And then here I just thought I'd make a little envelope, sorry, a little file folder. I just added the Let It Snow. This is from, the sentiment is from My Porch Prints. So that's just blank there, but I love this paper. This is Artie Mace. So anyways, you can just see, you know, the things you could do with this. But what I love about it the most is this comes right out. So you can add more photos here. You can add more pockets. This one also comes out. I think I'm still in frame. Yes. So you can, again, add more photos. You can add, you know, tuck spots, etc. You can make so many things with this little folio. And it is just the perfect little size, I think, to have to send to friends, like I said, and so easy to make. So let me show you what you're going to need, and then I'll just walk you through the process like I enjoy to do. If you haven't seen my tutorials on my channel, I will link the playlist below. I do enjoy sharing tutorials with you and, you know, various craft with me projects. I also have journal with me videos because I love making journals, but recently I haven't been wanting to make journals. So anyways, let's get started. As always, thumbs up. I would really appreciate it to know that you're enjoying this video. Questions, comments, you can always leave those below. And let's get started with this tutorial. Okay, so this project again is super easy. You're going to need 2 envelopes that are the same size. Now, if you don't have same size envelopes, you can make them with your envelope punch board. I think that's what it's called. But you need 2 envelopes the same size, and then your scrapbook paper of choice. You can use single-sided scrapbook paper or double-sided. I'm going to use single-sided scrapbook paper, and it's the 12 by 12 size, which we are going to use to make the inserts for the envelopes. And the inserts are the ones that I showed you that end up looking like this. Okay, so we'll get started with that first. Okay, so I want to start with I'm not sure what to call these. I guess the little ones, the folio parts that pull out. So as I mentioned, if you have your envelopes with your card bases, you can use that. I found them to be a little too small. I wanted them to cover kind of most of the area of the envelope. So I made my own. And what I did is, again, 12 by 12 sheet of paper. I cut it to 7, and I've kept the length. So I've got 2 of those. So make sure, again, when you're cutting your paper, that the design faces the way you want it to face when you're putting them in your envelopes. Okay, so I will score these and then let you know where I've scored them, which is actually pretty easy because the inside of these envelopes are about 5 inches. But let me just score them and show you what that is. Okay, so you can see that my paper is 7 and it's 12 long, and the scores are pretty easy if you keep it this way. So you would score it at 5 inches. Okay, and then at 10 inches, because I'm just going to make sure I get the crisp lines in. You can see now that it looks like the one I showed you. So we'll do this to both pieces of cardstock, and then I'll show you what I've done to embellish it, etc. So I'm just making sure that I have crisp lines that we have scored. And then I'm going to get my papers ready because I do want to line the backs of the scrapbook paper. I just don't want to leave them white. Now, if you have double-sided scrapbook paper, then you won't need to do this step. But I don't, so I just, you know, make do with what I have. So I have the 2 pieces, and I want the kind of pocket that we made to be facing out on either side. So I'm making sure that when I put them in my envelopes, that they'll be facing the right way. So this one will be on the right side of my folio, and I just want to make sure that everything fits nicely. So now I'm going to select my papers to line them. You can use, if you are using the lining, you can use, of course, you know, whatever you have on hand. I'm using printables because I find that this doesn't make it as thick as if I were to use cardstock, and I don't want this part to be so, so thick and stiff. But of course, as I mentioned, if you happen to have double-sided cardstock paper, you don't need to do this step. And if you only have cardstock, then you can also line these with your favorite cardstock. So here I'm just adding glue to the entire side. Now I'm not giving you exact measurements for this because I don't know what size of envelope you are going to be using, but I'm making sure that it fits mine, which is about 5 by 7, I believe, is what we cut the sizes to when you fold everything up. So this would be 5 by 7, if you remember the score lines that we were doing. And I'm also making sure that when I fold my flap over, that I haven't put the paper on the side that it would impede it from bending over. I hope I'm making sense. So I'm just going to line this side as well. And as you can see, I'm using different papers for both sides because I'm sort of seeing each little pull out as its own little booklet. So, you can either make it exactly the same and they both match when you finish them, or, give them a slight difference on the inside if you are lining them, etc. So again, here I'm just making sure that it lines up. I believe these pages that I selected, this one on this side is from On a Whimsical Adventure, and the other one was from Calico Collage, I believe. And I did also forget to mention that I am using my portrait prints as well in the project, which I've used in my previous project as well. So here I can just leave this white if I wanted to, but I'm just going to finish covering up the white spots there, and just picking whatever piece I want. I think there's another piece that I cut off that matches it, so that's perfect there. So I'll line this side, and then I'll also line the other side, and then show you how I'm going to make this pocket. I'm also going to leave a link in the description box below to some of the items that you have seen me use here, which really is mostly just my glue. But I know a lot of people ask me, what items I use when I craft, what my favorite supplies are. So I like to leave that in the description box below, so you can just see everything that I'm using. And now you can just see how nice that's lining up. And then I'll just be adding glue to the top and bottom of the flip over part that will make the pocket on the left side here. And of course, if you have any excess pieces that are sticking out of the paper, you just go ahead and clean that up. And that's what I'll be doing once I'm done with this. So I'm going to just show you the other side and see how that turns out. Okay, so I've finished the other side as well. I have to make sure my pocket glues properly, and then we'll get started. I'm going to show you just quickly how I made the little photo corners, because again, I was just reusing paper that I had. So took some strips of paper, cut them into 2 by 2 squares, which I find that works nicely in this project. And then I'm just going to cut my 2 by 2 square in half, and this way it just makes it a nice size. And just all you want is the little part to be able to tuck your little photos in, or recipe cards, or whatever you might be using. And of course you can make more if you want to fill all sides of this little flip out, but I'm just using the little pieces here for the front of the covers, because I'm leaving the other ones blank. I'm not sure what I want to do with those yet. But those of you that have shared some photos of the projects that you've done from my tutorials, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It makes me so happy to see your creations and what you've been inspired to make after you've seen my videos. So thank you for that. I know April, you recently sent me a picture of the last little folio that we did, and it was so adorable. I love what you did with your project, so thank you for sharing that with me. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm just leaving a little border on either side. just because I think it looks nicer that way. And then I'm going to do that to the other side as well. Now for this side, I decided to kind of do the opposite ends because I like the way that that looks when you put the little flip outs inside. Okay, so now we are going to be moving on to making the actual cover of the folio. And again, just grab your scrapbook pieces that you had, your envelopes, and then I'm just going to show you how to put that together. You'll need your favorite or whatever design you want for cardstock paper. Now this was a 12 by 12, okay, and I've cut it to 7 and, oh my gosh, 7 1/4, I think it is. Let me just double check. Yes, so I've cut it to 7 1/4 tall, and I've still left the length of the paper, which is still 12 inches. And so to make our base, as you can see here, you will take your envelopes, you will place them on your cardstock, whatever one you choose. And as you can see here, I'm lining up the envelopes with the pockets facing out, okay? And I will start by gluing the first envelope to the furthest corner of my paper here. Okay, we will do that together, shall we? Just in case. I'm just going to grab my little, I like to keep just these sheets of, I guess they're called drop sheets. I like to keep these around to use with when I'm making my little craft projects here. Okay, so I'm just going to add glue to the back side of the envelope. And now you can see that I'm just placing it, trying to line it up with the corners of my cardstock. And if you have any, little bits that are not cut properly, you can always adjust that later. Okay, so that's how we make the base there. Then we grab the next envelope, and I'm just eyeballing it, but I'm trying to leave like a 1/4 inch in between the envelopes because that's what's going to make my fold. And so that's where I would want, I'm measuring about a 1/4 inch, like I said, so I'll do the same thing on the other side of the envelope. And then what I'll do is I'll cut the excess strip, which I'll show you what we are going to do with that afterwards as well. So just okay, so here we're making sure that it all adheres to where I want it to go. Okay, then I'm just going to go ahead and cut that strip off. Okay, so I've cut my strip off. I'm going to grab my scoreboard, and this is where it gets super easy. I just like to line up my furthest edge to my center line just because I can kind of see better where I'm going to score it. And I'm just going to score the inside there. Then I'll move over and then make a score on that side. And it seems I need to glue this a little bit better. Okay, so we have that done. And I'm just going to quickly glue, fold over. And of course, I will be adding more glue to this because obviously I didn't add enough. I hope I'm still in frame. So I bent it towards the opposite direction, which is where I was actually scoring. I find that that helps the paper not crack too much. Okay, just move that out of the way. And you can see now that we have our base design. Okay, so now let me grab my other pieces. So for some reason, I started filming this upside down, but you'll still get to see what I'm doing because it would be the exact same thing either way. I did forget to tuck in the flaps of the envelope when we started the project. You can do that now, you can do it beforehand, it doesn't matter. You can glue them down, it's up to you. I find that it's not necessary because they just stay in anyways. So I've cut my inside covers to fit the envelopes, and again it's the same size that we've been using throughout. So 5 by 7 is the approximate size, and I'm just gluing them down. Now I did want to show you to remember to glue to put the glue on the envelope, because you don't want to glue your paper and close the envelope if you're not doing this little part where you glue the actual opening as I'm showing you here. So make sure that you put the glue this way on your envelope, or else you'll be gluing your paper completely down on your sheet, or on your envelope I should say. So you can see here I'm just lining it up again and making sure that it fits nicely on all directions, and I'm not going over the score lines so that it kind of stops it from folding. Okay, and then we're going to then take our strip afterwards, and I'll show you. This is the strip that we had left over from the initial cut, and then I'm going to show you what we are going to do with that. So now we're going to make sure that we can cut the strip to fit inside the fold outs here. So, and I'm just going to measure it with my pencil, and then make sure that I cut it so that it fits inside the folds again, because we don't want it to get in the way. So I'm doing that now, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, we're back to right side up. I've lined the center with the strip, and now I'm just going to be adding some of the pockets that that I picked for the inside covers. Now, of course, you can do anything you want here yourself, but I will also show you an option of what you can do with the actual cover, just coming here to the end of the video. It's something that I didn't do for the first one, but I thought I would show you what the option would be in case you were going to be making a similar one. And also, as I mentioned before, for the actual cover, I used the junk mail envelope, and of course I collaged on it. So I'll link that video below if you haven't seen them. I have actually a few videos showing you how I transform junk mail envelopes into something else using the windows, because I really like taking advantage of using those windows. So now I'm just going to bring in the actual pullouts that we made for the folio, so you can see how it looks with the pieces coming together. So this is my left side little insert for it, and as I mentioned before, you know, you can just keep adding pockets or tuck spots to these, as many as you want, but I thought just keeping it simple with these two was enough for this project. So you can see how nice it's looking, right? And okay, so now I'm just going to show you the option for the cover that I didn't do initially with this one, because I really didn't need to do it. It just lays nice and flat. Okay, so here is where you would add your closure. If you wanted to add a closure, your ribbon, your sari silk ribbon, you know, whatever it is that you might be using. So you would add this first before putting your you know, embellishment on the front, or the piece that I shared with you that I made with the repurposed envelope. So this is how that would look, of course, if you wanted to add your ribbon. But I won't be using ribbon again because I like that it lays nice and flat. I don't have to keep it closed. So I did make the envelope, as you can see here. I just did the collaging on it. So I'm just going to be gluing this on, and then that would be it for the project. I'm just quickly going to show you how I glue that on, just for those of you that like to see the full finished project. And then of course I'll finish decorating this afterwards. I don't know if you wanted to see that process. If you do, let me know, and then I will pull up that video. But I just thought I would show you how I added the envelope. You can always use a similar envelope like the one I shared in my previous video, which was the CD holder type of envelope. I really liked how big that window is, so you can of course do that, or you don't need a windowed envelope. You can just do whatever you want to the front. But I hope you enjoyed the share. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Questions, comments, please leave them below. And if you make any, please share with me on Instagram or Facebook. And don't forget to check out my playlist of other tutorials and beginner junk journal ideas if you are a beginner crafter. Okay, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.